All right, Larry Krueger here from the Pig and a Pickle Krug Show with a little 49er video as we talk about the top 10 breakout players for the 49ers this year, potentially. And we'll start on the defensive side of the ball. But first, we're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week in both spots from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out, and they do run out. So get there early, get some brisket chili. Go say hi to Damon and Mary and tell them that Larry Krueger sent you. And this video also brought to you by our good friends at Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California. Call my good buddy Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264 for all your sports cards and collectible needs. All right, let's talk about the top 10 breakout candidates for the 49ers on defense. This is one of the reasons why I think the 49ers are a great bet this year to potentially go back to the Super Bowl, because they literally have 10 potential breakout players on both the offense and the defense. So we're going to start on the defense and go through it. And this is in no particular order, but this is, every year, players do break out in the NFL. And it's usually guys in their first, second, or third year. And they'll take it to that next level. They'll go from, maybe a bench guy to a starter, or from a starter to a star. And usually it's after 1 or 2 years in an NFL weight room. They learn the scheme on either side of the ball. They become familiar with the scheme. They earn the trust of the coaching staff, and they kind of climb the ranks. So generally, first-year players can break out, but a lot of times it's second and third-year players that have talent, and for whatever reason, it doesn't click for them in the first year. Usually it's injury-related, sometimes scheme-related, sometimes it's just too many guys at a certain position. All right, let's run it down. Top 10 guys on defense that potentially could break out for the 49ers this year. I'm going to start with Drake Jackson. Drake Jackson, the defensive end out of USC, second-round pick a couple years ago. Drake is, had 3 sacks in the opener last year against the Steelers. And then by week 7, he was out for the year. He's trying to get that knee right. I think he's probably going to have a year off season where he gets healthy. He gets stronger. He knows the defense better. And I think he shows up in camp and really fires. So I think Drake Jackson's got potential to go from, really part-time contributor to borderline contributor at all to a regular part of their defensive line rotation. So I feel good about Drake Jackson's ability to bounce back this year. Another guy who plays that same spot is Robert Beal Jr. He's number 2 on my list for breakout defenders. Beal supposedly has gained about 12 pounds, so he was in the high 240s and now is in the low 260s. And, they want him a little heavier, but, man, he's got great athleticism. And he started to come on late in the year. If he can continue to make those strides going into this next season, I think Beal could be a guy who really burns the edge and gives them another guy who can go after the quarterback and put some heat on the quarterback off the edge. He's number 2. All right, number 3 on the list, Jordan Elliott. Jordan Elliott was the PFF number 6 defensive tackle against the run last year. I think this guy offers some ability as both an underrated inside pass rusher and a run defender. And I think there's a very good chance that Chris Kacerek gets more out of Jordan Elliott than the Browns were able to. I love this player at Missouri. I thought, 310 pounds, great feet, great pass rush ability, and he just hasn't put it together. I think in this simple, get up the field scheme and system, and you surround him with some big-time star players like Floyd and Bosa and Hargrave, and I think there's a real chance that Jordan Elliott, really takes a major step forward this year. So I'll put him number 3 on the list. Another guy that I'm really excited to see in the preseason is Evan Anderson, the big defensive tackle from Florida Atlantic. The guy was 360. He's down to 315. He's got enormous strength, and you can see him split double teams on film. He does it with ease, and he really doesn't give any ground. Kind of reminds me of kind of like a little bit of combo of Ted Washington, if you're looking for that strength at the point. But he also has a little bit of the DJ Jones build. He's like in that 6'1" and change, a little bit shorter. But Evan Anderson, they gave him $280,000 to try to get him to sign as an undrafted free agent, and they got him. And I just think that he's a guy that, you can see the power and his ability to hold his ground. So he has great functional strength, and they could really use that. So I'm eager to see what he looks like in the preseason. Another guy who looks incredible, really, when you think about they just signed him off the street, is Shaquelle Brown, who was an undrafted free agent who they wanted last year, and they lost out to the Tennessee Titans. So he went to the Titans, and he hurt his ankle and missed basically the whole year, and the Niners got him pounced on him as soon as Tennessee let him go. And when you look at Shaquelle Brown, I mean, incredible power package. I mean, this guy's got powerful legs, powerful upper body, but he's also got that power speed thing going where he's pretty explosive at 290 plus. He looks good. I thought he would look pretty good athlete. He's more than a pretty good athlete. So I'm eager to see what Shaquelle Brown's got, because he looks like he's got the ability to maybe win a spot. Maybe beat out Kalia Davis and Kevin Givens and some of these guys. I mean, he's a big-bodied guy who moves well with great functional strength. So I like what I see out of Shaquelle Brown. Number 6 on this list is D. Winters. I asked Fred Warner a few weeks back after the minicamp. I said, which of these young linebackers has stood out to you in the offseason program? And he actually went further and said D. Winters has been the most impressive guy in the entire team in the OTAs, which obviously tells Fred that, or tells us that Fred thinks that Winters has really, really had a great offseason. Great to hear. This guy, was impressive in college, and he's, a guy who can really, you can't run sideline to sideline on Winters. He's got great speed, great instincts, and if he can get comfortable in this defense and give them another inside backer option, especially with Greenlaw out maybe until Thanksgiving, I think that he's a real exciting player to watch. Now, another guy that I'm even more excited about is Jalen Graham from Purdue, second-year linebacker. And, I thought Graham looked amazing in the preseason last year, and he's got natural instincts. He flows right to the ball. He's got good size, good strength, great attitude. Young kid getting nothing but better. So, of all the guys on this list, if I had to say, give me one guy that I think is going to break out, it would be him. It would be Jalen Graham. I think Graham's going to have a huge year. He's just productive. Now he knows the defense. He's stronger. This guy's just a tackling machine. He breaks down in space well. He can bring really athletic offensive players to the ground with solo tackles. I think Jalen Graham's really special. Another guy who I'm really looking forward to seeing is Renardo Green. Renardo Green is just one of those guys that plays bigger than his size and a terrific tackler. Very aggressive defensive player. I think he is going to be a great addition. I think him and Malik Mustafa, another guy on this list, are going to be those alphas that they really lost when Jimmy Ward and Emmanuel Mosley left. I think they get those alpha kind of guys back in Renardo Green and Malik Mustafa. Mustafa can really run and hit. Green is incredibly tenacious and just, hyperactive, tons of energy. I love both those guys. And number 10 on the list, but definitely not last, because this guy is a major talent. When I went to minicamp and I'm watching the 49er defense work out, the one guy that just absolutely screams out at you who didn't do anything last year for the most part, is Darrell Luter, the second-year cornerback out of South Alabama. I mean, we're talking about length and athleticism and explosiveness, and he can play man coverage. He can get right up on the line of scrimmage and play press man. That's what he did at South Alabama. He's mature. I talked to him a couple times last year. He's a mature guy with a kid, and he's focused, and he's big, and he's fast. He's rangy. I mean, you look at that guy, and you sit there, and he almost looks like he could be a stunt double for Mooney Ward. Big, rangy, long arms, physically dominant, tons of swagger. On a field of athletes, Darrell Luter Jr. looks like the most athletic. So that stands out to me. So there you go. Those are my 10 breakout players on defense in no particular order, but Drake Jackson, Robert Beal Jr., Jordan Elliott, Evan Anderson, Shaquelle Brown, D. Winters, Jalen Graham, Renardo Green, Malik Mustafa, and last but certainly not least, Darrell Luter Jr. So if you say to me, Krug, it sounds like you're really enthusiastic the Niners are going to have a terrific year. Well, I just named for you 10 guys on defense. None of those guys start. None of those guys contributed. Of the entire group, Nobody did anything last year. Drake Jackson had one good game for the 49ers last year. But I just gave you 10 players that I think are going to break out and be productive this year on their defense. And that's one of the reasons I love their chances of going back to the Super Bowl. Because if you can find 10 guys who didn't contribute much the year before that you can envision making a significant contribution, that's good. And that's what the Niners have on defense. 10 young, talented defensive players on all three levels of their defense that could step up and really make a difference this year. All right, hope you enjoyed the video. Give me your comments below. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle for being the title sponsor of The Krug Show. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles for sponsoring this video. And thanks to all of you guys for supporting The Krug Show on YouTube.